The coffee industry in Kenya has a long and bloody history to it. The native tribes always seem to be under some sort of foreign control and abused for their lands. The first group of invaders was the Arabs, who controlled the coffee production and sales from the 8th to 19th centuries, and sold the product to the Eastern world. In the late 19th century, English settlers cut short the Arab rule and took control of Kenya for themselves. British settlers saw Kenya as prime real estate for their plantations because of the rich volcanic soil located in the highlands. Kenya was an untapped country with no infrastructure to support any type of commercial trading, so the British built the Uganda Railway, which was completed in 1899. Kenyan natives did not understand the commercial production of goods, which posed a serious problem to the British entrepreneurs who claimed land around them. In order for English settlers to convince the natives to work for a salary, the European governors set up large taxes that had to be paid in cash, which could only be obtained through working in the fields. Although there were no legislation that prohibited locals from growing coffee, the settlers formed an unofficial policy. Settlers thought that the natives would produce inferior goods which would damage the reputation that had been set in the London market. They also thought that the locals would steal coffee from the Europeans. And finally, they thought that the natives would not cultivate correctly, therefore causing pests to run rampant. In the early 1930s, a tribe that went by the name of Giuzi set out to break the bonds that refused the natives the right to grow their own coffee. This claim was not taken seriously until a man by the name of Sir Joseph Byron became governor of the colony. The Great Depression stalled the efforts to establish the Giuzi as legitimate farmers. However, after World War II, the Giuzi people started to slowly cultivate their lands. By 1950, 270 acres of coffee beans had been planted in Giuzi land. This number kept growing, and in 1955, 5,764 farmers planted 2,165 acres of the cash crop. Even though native Kenyans earned the right to grow their own crops, it seems that they still aren't on an equal playing field as the Europeans. Coffee bean is very cheap to sell, and with no government subsidies, local farmers are still starving. Kenya has and continues to be a nation exploited for its coffee.